How was it 2022, man? If you could reflect on it, um, how could you summarize your year if you could? What would you say about 2022?
Um, Man, to be real, 2022 had its ups and downs, as I feel like everything does. But I had some big ups and some big downs this past year, and so it it. But in the end, looking back on it, everything I feel like everything still came together, comes together, for the better. And so now we can get a little deeper in here. If that's all right with you.
I'm
um.
fine with it.
Oh yeah, so I can kind of use this platform, and this is a good point in time to speak on it now that I'm kind of on the better side of it. But in the middle of 2022, as y'all all know, last year on Christmas Eve we lost my teammate Ant. So that happened almost a year ago from this point in time. So a year ago at this time was very rough for me, to say the least. you know. And then so we ended up having to, we lost a teammate. That was very hard. We come back together. We played, finished the season out. That was difficult to say the least. Playing without, not only a friend and our teammate, our brother, but he was also a good player. So he was a starter, did a lot of things for us. But we rallied, came together, and ended up still winning 20 games, still made a playoff run, and still went to the NCAA tournament. So still, we worked it out. Um, but like I said, that was tough. Near the end of the season, which is this is something I never really spoke on here. Um, right before the end of the season, literally the end of the season, because I remember like yesterday, we lost an NCAA tournament to Queens University, and so that was the end of the season. That was it. My pops texts me, says, "Hey son, give me a call when you get the chance. Um, when you after the game, whatever." He said, "Give me a call when you get the chance, son." Now, my pops only do that for two reasons. All right, yeah, I know everybody here don't know my dad, obviously. My pops only do that for two reasons: somebody died, somebody living. So, like, something good didn't happen, and what I mean by that, something really good didn't happen, or something really bad that happened. So, ain't no telling which one it is. The way I'm feeling, the season just ended. I'm like, there's a lot of bad things happening right now, so I'm expecting the worst. Call my pops out of the game. He tells me that my grandma is sick. She's not doing very well. His mom, my grandma on his side, she's not doing very well. You might want to come home and see her. That's what he said. So that's when I knew. I was like, this is not good. So
Mhm.
I was planning on taking a couple of days off after we had lost because we was on spring break. Literally the day we lost in the NCAA tournament, we was on spring break that next week because that game was on Saturday. I want to say the next night we was on spring break that whole week. Next week, I was gonna take like 2 days off to like rest and recover and get over the loss. Instead, the next day we got home from Columbus. We got back to Columbus the next day. We came home. I came home, went in my room, packed my stuff, went home, went back to my mama's house. So I go be with my grandma for a while during spring break. And I did other things. I still, went and saw the people and stuff. But I got to spend time with my grandma. Came back to Columbus on Sunday. That Monday, my father called me, told me that my grandma had passed away. So that very next day. So that was tough, you know, like to say the least. So it was like Aunt on December 24th. 4 months later, January, February, March. 3 months later, almost four, because it was the end of March. It was my grandma. So it was a rough patch in life. And then the next week we had my grandma's funeral. We lay her to rest. Very tough, very sad, very emotional. The day we had my grandma's funeral, my old JUCO coach passed away, and I had know nothing about him being sick or nothing. But I started getting text messages and stuff, people telling me that he had died. I put my phone down, turned my phone off. I was like, I don't want to. It's been a lot. I don't want to do this no more. I remember my Miss Tiffany, my old our team mama is what she was. Liz. She called me. I declined the call. I texted. I said I saw about Coach Suits. Uh, with all due respect, I don't want to talk about it right now. You know, I'd have been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So cut my phone off. This was hands down. I can say that. Yeah, this was probably hands down the worst or roughest patch I'd have had in my life over a span of a couple months. You know what I'm saying? But as that happened, 2 weeks later, I want to say 2 weeks later, my nephew was born. My sister was
Mm-hmm.
pregnant at the time. So she had my nephew, we call him Zek. His name is Zechariah. Everybody calls him Zek. Little Zek was born like 2 weeks after that. And boy, let me tell you, that's what the Lord knew because I needed it. Like I'm here in Columbus working at the Y when my folks call me tell me that the baby's born. And I held back my tears because I was at work and I don't like other people to see me cry, but I was this close to crying. Cause I was like, man, I felt like I was just losing people. Things was not going, the right way all the time. Like people was like leaving me. It's how I felt. And
Mm-hmm.
then my little nephew was born. So it felt like, dang, man, like something's been given to me. Like life has came into the world, and this is my family, obviously. And so I'm like, man, like my nephew. And one day I tell him this story when he old enough to understand. I feel like my nephew really like brought me out of that like
Mm-hmm.
bad place I was in. He very much helped me because I'm like, man, I finally something has come into the world, something good that came into the world. I done lost a lot the past couple months, but something that came into the world and made it a little bit better. So I love my nephew to death, man. Just to say the least, I love him to death. I take any opportunity to hug him and like love on him and stuff because like he don't know as a baby, he don't know what he did for me already. You know what I'm saying? But ever since then, ironically enough, ever since then, I feel like life has kind of been on the upslope. Everything's been going a little bit better, and things are going. We know it's going in the right direction. I've been getting better, developing as a player over the year, stuff like that. Season started, I've shown progress. Obviously, you've seen it. They got a
Mm-hmm.
lot better, and preparing to go into my next career after this. But obviously, focusing on finishing this season. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you expected me to go this deep or whatever, but that was the year for me. Like this past year, like I said, it had its ups and downs, and so luckily, the end of the year. It's been coming up. You know what I'm saying? So that makes me feel good as the new year starts. That like things was on the upslope, or still are on the upslope as the new year came in. So hopefully, that's a good sign for going into the new year. Like we finna keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was my year, man. That was 2022 for me. So uh,
Yeah, that kind of makes sense if that makes sense. Cause like it's hard for you to you don't it's always two sides to everything. Everything has it's the law of polarity. I'm not gonna go super deep, but I'm gonna make it understandable enough for what I'm saying. So it's a law of polarity. So you can't have bad without good. You can't have up without having down. You can't have death without having life.
right.
So of course it's not a balancing out of that. Like you can't say, well, this person died, so this life equals out to that. Like I'm not saying that, but in the grand scheme of things, when something ends, there is a beginning to that too. So looking at it through that lens, that makes sense because you can't have down, down, down and keep going down. That's not how the law works. You have to have up at some point.
Mhm.
And so I guess you can look at it through the family lens of, okay, you lost this person within the family, but now we've gained this person within the family. And so we talked about it a little bit in private. We never got too deep into it, but looking at it through that whole scope of things, man, it's just like, um, I want to publicly, commend you for showing up here in spite of all of that. Because I know it's not easy to do. Because I have had my days too where it's just like I don't want to be public. I don't want to be outside. My bed's right there. I want to be right there in it and stay there for a while. Like that's very comfortable. So,
Mhm.
I know it's not. I know, like I'm here with you, bro. I know it's not easy to show up here week after week after week, 52 times a year to show up and perform and talk how you need to. And then on top of that, you have school. On top of that, you got basketball. Nobody knows what you went through. So, um, that's a lot, bro. Like I'm never gonna sit here and just try to gloss over it like it's just business as usual because I know how heavy that is. You know,
Mm.
I'm blessed enough to say I haven't lost anyone close to me like that. I've had classmates that I used to go to school with, found out they passed and stuff, man, but never had anything that close to home. So um, I know it's tough to show up regardless in life and school as a student, as a hooper, and then they lean on you even more this year. Like you don't want like you just a role player. No offense to any role players. Don't want like you just around the bench. No offense to that either. But they lean on you. You still perform, respectable. So I want to give you your flowers publicly, bro, because you showed up and perform. I don't know if people could have noticed it. We talked about it a little bit behind the scenes, but I want to make sure that you are commended for that. You feel me? So, in spite of the teammate to coach to family member to your grandma, like that's grandma something special. I didn't grow up with my grandparents, so
Mm.
I can't relate to that. Like they were gone before I was able to really. They were either all gone before I got here. I think I might have had one that was still alive when I was here, but I was a baby by the time they moved on. So I never really had grandparents like that. So I can't connect to that. But to lose someone that you've known 20 plus years for you, like that's not an easy thing. So, um, man, hopefully people show your love too outside of this, but I want to publicly do because I'm not a public person. I hate when people do stuff on social media and stuff, but I want you to see this love and these flowers publicly, bro. Like, so respect for that, man. And I appreciate you showing up because you could have said, I ain't got it today and I can't record. And you would have been within your rights. I can't sit up and mad at you for that, so respect to that. Salute you for that, man. So it's all love, bro. So hopefully, not hopefully things will keep going up for you too. It'll be more life and more opportunities and greater things coming for you for this year moving forward. So hopefully be more life and more opportunities and more blessings for you for this year, man. So hopefully you can say this is to this point, 2023 will be the best year of life, man. So that's my little love for you, bro.
Man, I appreciate you saying that, bro. Because it was tough. It was tough. It definitely was difficult them days, But I gotta say I appreciate you also because this is something I could do as almost like a distraction for what's going on. This is something I enjoy doing, obviously, and so it's like yeah, things going on, but I was like I can get to hop on the podcast and like we can talk basketball and whatever else we might do. We might do an interview. Or I get to talk to somebody different, learn something. It's a good little distraction, good little thing to get my mind off, other stuff that may be
Mm-hmm.
going on. So I appreciate you also for this. But yeah, man, it's gonna be okay. And I tell people that. Like I remember I had this conversation with my teammates because he was talking about like, man, it feel like every time I have money in my pocket, my car messing up. That's what he said. And I said, that's valid. But I said, let me tell you something though, because I'm older than him. I said, let me explain something to you about like the same thing you said. I said, things ain't gonna never be all the way good. It's never gonna be 100% good. But vice versa though, things ain't gonna never be all the way bad, 100% bad. It might seem bad. Now, some days things gonna be 70, 80. Like it
Mm-hmm.
might be 70% bad. It might be looking real bad. But you can take solace in the fact that life is never 100% bad and good gonna always come. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
like you said, there's a balance to it. That's it. So when you got money in your pocket and you walk around like, yeah, man, everything good, and then your car start making these funny noises or something, it's like, man, life ain't. Just remember that I told you that life ain't gonna never be all the way good, 100% good. That's just how it is.
Yep.
There's times it's gonna be really good, but you make sure you prepared for when it ain't, because one day it won't. So just be ready. And this year, like, is a prime example of that. Things was bad, things were really bad, but um, in the grand scheme of things, like I said, it's never all the way bad because eventually good came for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody that might be going through that rough patch in their life, if you just kind of had a tough go of it right about now, that's okay. That's okay to have that because that happens to everybody. So don't ever feel like life just going wrong for you or going bad for you, and that's just it. Like no, like it's a lot of people in this world think like nothing 100% good for nobody, and things might just be a little worse for you right now. This is just your time for things to be
Mm-hmm.
bad because it's just part of life. But take solace in the fact that it ain't gonna be like this all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah, so if the year taught me anything, if I had to put it into words, if the year taught me anything, it is definitely that. Life ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna always be bad. It ain't gonna never be 100% good, but it also ain't gonna never be 100% bad. When it's bad, good gonna always come. So just
Yep.
trusting that, and, that that's my main little takeaway, really, from the whole year 2022. Like, if I had to put it into one like sentence, that would be
Yeah. That's literally like a phrase that I always used to tell myself. So I've been using that for like and maybe 3 years now. It's like I be in a like in a bad space, bro. Like, dang, hit after hit after hit. I'm like, yeah, is this life? Like, come on, bro. Like, I can't catch a
it.
win now. Like, come on, man. But then it's like, okay, it won't always be like this. So like, it's just like it's just a reminder that I give myself to like, it's a season, bro. Like, not to get once again, not to get too deep because this ain't the podcast for that. This ain't the platform for that. But life won't always. There are seasons to things. There's summer, winter, fall, spring. You're gonna have your highs and lows, left and right. It's all good. It's not always gonna be like this, B. So just thug it out through this period. When I don't know when it's gonna stop, but just survive this period, bro. It won't always be like this. When you get that good pocket, remember, bro, it won't always be like this. It's good. It's feeling amazing right now, but it won't always be like this. And so that can be kind of negative to some people, but it's just like that's life. Like that's literally like life. You can't avoid that. So when it's good, I sit back and appreciate it. Like life is good.
Definitely.
I'm feeling good right now. So let me sit back and appreciate the fact that I'm in a good space. I'm in a good mental space. Spiritually, I'm good. Physically, I'm good. I'm in a great space in everything right now. Like literally right now, today, I'm feeling great about life 100%. Not to say I'm in a perfect spot, not where I want to be. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's far from the truth. But I can sit back and say, I appreciate where I'm at. Everything's going well. Thank you. Because I've had way worse days. I can think about them days when I wasn't okay, when life wasn't good like where I wanted to be. That'll make me straight to where I'm at right now. And when I'm going through those bad pockets, okay, it won't always be like that either. So that is what I used to tell myself, man. Tell me get to where I won't be as low as I could be.